for a reader on the themes set to drive markets this week. Peter McGuire from XM joins us now live. Peter, great to have you on board this morning. Let's just take a look back to that Friday session. We finished up in the green. We're set to open higher this morning. Volatility, though, has spiked a little bit.
Absolutely. Good morning, Cara. Good morning, Andrew. Yeah, we had a big run up as far as NASDAQ, up 2.32. S&P up nearly 1.5. Dow was just over 1%. So it was a strong lead. Gold's up as well. US dollars come back a little bit, Cara. Front page of the Financial Times really took, I think, the reality of the matter. There it says there, inflation is the key agenda. And I think that the great inflation scare of 21. So how that plays into the market coming into third quarter and fourth quarter is going to be very, very fascinating times ahead.
Just missed that, Pete. You'll have to pull up the paper again just to show us those headlines. There you go.
Oh, Andrew, that's only gentlemen read the Financial Times. You know that. It probably gets to your front door every week.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
right.
We only get it every weekend. It only comes in Saturdays. It doesn't come every day like everywhere else in the world. So hopefully we can get it every day.
Amazing, you actually have a physical newspaper there.
Yeah, I'm an old school guy, Andrew. You know that.
All right, so just looking at the States at the moment, we've got a real mixed bag as far as that data is concerned. Obviously, you had that real shock as far as the inflation figure with the CPI reading last week. Just on Friday, retail sales very flat. Obviously, the jobs is a bit of a concern there as far as the jobs market as well. Yet it's all about obviously the ongoing fear of inflation.
Absolutely right. So those weak job numbers over the last 2 months have been, I think, a little bit very much worrying. And of course, the stimulus-led retail sales rally that that the Yanks got $1,400 and they spent it in March was strong. Well, February, March was, I think, the push forward. And unfortunately, those stimulus packages don't come every month, Andrew. So it's going to be a realization where we play with higher inflation, energy costs, as we've touched on previous weeks, copper's up, lumber's up, you name it. Every commodity's costing more in crude oil. So it's going to have an impact as far as the purse and the wallet power.
So where does that leave the US dollar, Pete? I mean, of course, we did see a bit of a rebound last week. The Australian dollar, though, pushing back towards 78 cents. So was this just a little dip?
I think so, Cara. It hit up nearly 91. I might have actually got through there. We're sitting at around 90. I've got my number there, 90.3 this morning for the US dollar index. And I feel as though that could come under further pressure. I wouldn't be surprised to take an 89 handle out this week. Crude oil's had a big run up. Brent's at $69 a barrel. So it's been a very wild trade over the last 3 to 4 days. Gave off a couple of losses. We haven't had a close above $70, I think, for 2 years. So that may happen even this week. We're only $1 short. We've got those ongoing tensions with the West Bank, their clashes as far as Israel and Palestine, Hamas, and all of those ingredients that go into creating turbulence for energy markets.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned some of the base metals there. Copper did actually come off over the weekend, and along with some of the others such as lead. Gold managing to lift to a degree. Iron ore is an interesting story too, given particularly as far as the Chinese trying to influence that as far as some controls are concerned.
Absolutely, Andrew. We got that Singapore number, I think it was Tuesday last week, at the highest on record, about 225. So, yeah, where China controls a lot of the deal tension as far as pricing, as we're all very much aware of. So let's see where this week takes us. Maybe it's going to give back some of those gains. Copper's off 20 cents a pound, back at about $10,240 a metric ton, from nearly that 10,500. So we're still off all-time highs, and I put my mind back to the good old days where nickel was $52,000 a metric ton and collapsed to 8,000. So a little bit like the Nikkei, there's plenty of volatility in commodity markets.
Pete, let's do a bit of a global roundup. What are you looking at in Europe? Of course, the euro also in focus, given that backdrop of the US dollar. Some PMIs out this week.
Absolutely, Cara. That's what everyone's got their focus on, the PMIs. Not much as far as no central banks coming out. I think the Fed news is going to be old news, so I don't take any credence with that, but very much centered on what's happening as far as PMIs coming out of Europe. The whole energy across, the whole circumstances across Europe and where that plays, and does that bounce or does it go deeper into the hole? And hopefully we get some tourism and we get dollars being spent across Europe over that summer period, and the re-engagement as far as the whole society.
And Pete, let's just take a look at Japan. That's interesting. Yep. Obviously, now you're mentioning sort of the risk of a double-dip recession there. Obviously, they're having problems as far as the re-emergence of COVID, the vaccine rollout. Yep. Similar story here, I guess, with the rollout. Overall, though, how are you looking at Japan at the moment?
Well, two things, Andrew. First, an aged economy, and secondly, very, very slow uptake as far as vaccinations. Really, it just hasn't gained traction at all. So very, very low numbers if you're looking at that as a metric. The second part is we've got a yen, US dollar yen, nearly touching that 110 magic number. So I feel as though that where Japan plays as far as a trade's concerned, you could see a little bit further strength to the upside as far as yen. Very conscious where their economy is, though I never underestimate the power of the Japanese as far as from an export-driven model. So I'm keeping my binoculars very much focused on inflation from the Coogee Beach studios and the whales migrating north. So that's the issue at hand, Andrew.
Fair enough. Pete, always good to have a chat on a Monday morning to set up the week for us. Thanks so much for joining us from XM.
See you, Cara. Bye-bye, Andrew. Thank you.
Thanks.